Hello, and welcome to this late morning taste challenge. We have two Kentucky bourbon whiskeys, and here they are. This is ancient age 10 star, genuine sour mash Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Ancient age 10 star. 10 star. This is 90 proof, carefully distilled along the banks of the Kentucky River according to the finest old traditions. This was $13.99 at Bonita Disc Bonita Plaza Liquors in Meridian, Mississippi. I've never seen it in Louisiana. We get ancient age, yes, common. We get ancient age black label, the blended whiskey, not so common, but I can get it. But not the 10 star. Age at least 36 months. Now, if you look at the website, and I'll put a link here to their website, it says Buffalo Trace website. It says, this 6-year-old has flavor to be savored by all bourbon enthusiasts. Marked by its sweetness and heavy rye flavor, it's an easy bourbon to sip. Taste and notes. Aromas of oak wood, clover, and honey round out the nose. Strong and warm flavors of corn, vanilla, and spice. Finishes with a takeaway of caramel and toffee. The problem is they're saying it's a 6-year-old, and I have a bottle that clearly says 3 years. So I guess there's two different versions, and I got the younger version. Too bad. That's all right. They also make, what other products do they list on their website? I'll give you a few. Old Charter, Benchmark, Kentucky Gentleman, Very Old Barton, Hancock, Weller, Bowman, Elmer T. Lee, and so forth. All right. Olive Fire says, cheers, Ron. Cheers to you. So there we go. Competitor, Royal. Don't know when it was introduced. Doesn't even have a trademark. Can't look. I kept saying, why can't I find trademark data? It's not even trademark. There's a crown above the Royal. Crown above the Royal. Crown. Finest quality. Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavor. It's Heaven Hill, because you can tell by that insignia there. I don't know what that means, but it's always on the Heaven Hill weird brands. And it's, you can tell it's a Heaven Hill bottle, and it's from Bardstown, Kentucky. And it's listed on the Heaven Hill website in their product specifications. And it's called Royal Spirit Blend, and I'll explain that. It is against the law in the United States of America to add flavoring or coloring to bourbon, whether it's regular bourbon or straight bourbon or bottled in bond bourbon. That is absolutely forbidden. Now that's a dark amber, right? Nearly brown, tan, copper. No color added to that one. $13.99 for 90 proof Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. Sour mash. That's the deal, boy. Now, $7.99. $7.99 for Royal Kentucky bourbon whiskey with natural flavors. At what's the name of that liquor store in Houston, Texas? I can't remember the name of it. Ralston Liquors. Ralston. I'll keep forgetting it. I saw it over there, and I said, let me buy it. It's so bizarre. I was almost embarrassed to ask for it. Like, what will they think of me? And then I was like, well, they're selling it. And they were happy to sell it, and then I bought two rums over there, Calypso Silver and Calypso Gold. And those rums were $5.89. Regular size bottles, $5.89. And people ask me from time to time, you ever tried Calypso? And I said, I've heard of it. And now I saw some the other day, but it was the spiced one, the spiced Calypso. Okay, that was in Kenner, Louisiana. All right, now the Royal is gold, amber, but not as deep charred as that other one. You know that. Now, a genuine natural color. Nice. Right. We get tired of all these Scotch whiskeys that are clearly darker than they should be because they add in color. Canadian whiskey, American blended. Irish whiskey. But bourbon is one safeguard. If you get straight bourbon, you don't have to worry about color being added because it's illegal. And you don't have to worry about them jacking it up with natural flavorings, like tweaking it with a little vanilla or a little oak extract. That's a flavoring, oak extract, or almond extract. Nope, can't do it. Illegal. Now, you're saying, but wait a minute. You just said, let me open this window. It's warming up quickly, and it's so nice on this warm winter day. I just finished saying it's illegal to add flavoring or color into bourbon, but yet I turned around and showed you a bottle of Kentucky bourbon with natural flavor. So something doesn't add up, correct? I can go right there to Mathern's and buy 10 high that says Kentucky bourbon with natural flavor. I can go to Albertsons and buy Kentucky Gentleman, Kentucky bourbon with natural flavor, or maybe that's Dornex. And at Albertsons or Dornex, they got Kentucky Tavern, says Kentucky bourbon with natural flavor. So how can it be that if it's, I'm telling you, it's illegal? I was bewildered, but I've cracked the code. It's warming up here in Michigan as well for the first time, for the time being anyways. Right, it won't last. Okay, I've cracked the code. G-Bird Fisher says, good morning, Ron. Good morning to you. Okay, now let's mix these up. I can't look down because one is clearly darker than the other. And I'm not going to be overconfident like at dawn this morning where I did the Jethro T boots, also from Buffalo Trace. And I smelled them, and one didn't seem to have a lot of aroma. And I said, that's the Royal. And I picked it up. Oh, I had it backwards. Overconfidence. I had done like 6 in a row, kept getting them right. So I figured I can't fail. I can't get it wrong. That was my own idiocy. Here's the deal. If you look at the Tax and Trade Bureau website, there's a chapter called Added Coloring and Flavorings. It's all about how you can add harmless coloring and flavoring to any liquor. And then they tell you if it's allowed or not. It says bourbon, not allowed. No coloring is allowed and no flavoring is allowed. It says, but you can add coloring or flavoring to the bourbon, but it's no longer considered bourbon. It's a distilled specialty. A distilled specialty product. Now you're saying, like I'm saying, yeah, but it's bourbon. It's still bourbon. You just added flavor to it. It had to be bourbon at first. It was 51% corn or more, and it was aged in new charred oak barrels. Correct. You're right. But since they added flavoring to it, now it's a distilled specialty product. Which one? Bourbon with natural flavor. How you like that? So it's strictly illegal to add flavoring or coloring to bourbon, but you can add flavoring or coloring to bourbon, and now it's bourbon with natural flavor. It's not flavored bourbon, it's bourbon with natural flavor. Now you say that's sophistry. That's playing games with the spirit of the law and the letter of the law and everything else. Well, hey, you know what? I didn't make the regulations. I'm just telling you what they say. Aroma, not much. Little pungent corn and kind of a vacant aspect to it, just like a vacuum. Over here, yeah, over here. Quite noticeable, higher than normal rye. That peppery spice, the rye has that minty peppery spice, and that is a Buffalo Trace calling card. They are known to jack up their bourbons with rye. You say, well, that's a flavoring. No, that's a grain that has flavor. You see, it's not a flavoring, it's a grain. You can add corn. You got to use corn, 51% or more. And then you can spruce it up. You can make it 100% corn, doesn't matter, but you can spruce it up with rye whiskey, wheat whiskey, or single malt barley, single barley malt whiskey, as they call it in Scotland, single malt whiskey, barley malt whiskey. You say, what if you want to use unmalted barley? Well, you could. Doesn't matter. As long as it's grain. If it's a grain, you got it. You could use rice. They make a rice whiskey in Louisiana, Melick rice whiskey. Don't know if it's good. Never tried it. Taste. It's like wood and corn with sugar and maybe vanilla. No joke. I'm not making a joke. I'm not trying to be flip. It tastes like sugar water, corn, oak, and vanilla. No, none of those flavors are bad, but it's so bland. There's not much to it. It's just bland. The label's bland. Everything about it is bland. You say, but that's totally in line with the price. And I totally agree. And you get what you pay for. And in this sense, you went low and you got it. Or I should say, I, chose the low shelf and I got, but it's fine. I wouldn't buy it again, but how many people do you know who tried Royal Bourbon? All right. A rich charred oak, deeply charred oak, spicy rye. Oh, I'm opening my eyes now because I know this is ancient age 10-star. I don't even need labels. Look how dark it is, but I got the label. Yep. Okay. Okay, it costs $6 more per bottle. Is it worth it? Yeah, easily worth it. A clear winner. It is a clear and present winner. There's no doubt. You could never confuse these two. Maybe on aroma only. That was like I said, my failure this morning. But otherwise, there's no way, no how it's going to happen. Funny thing about the Royal, it's aged at least 4 years. It's not some young. You say, well, 4 years is not really old. I know, I get that, but it's not 2 years. And really, to be bourbon, it doesn't even have to be 2 years. It could just be a year. I've seen bourbons that are aged 6 months. I wouldn't dare buy them. 6 months. I'm telling you the truth. I can even tell you the name of it was from the Bronx. It's called, I don't know, something like Soul Brothers Bourbon or something like that. Now, I'm not making that up. But I said it was so pale. But it was legal. Didn't look like it would be any good. So this one is a 4-year-old bourbon or older, and still got no flavor. You say, why? I'll tell you why. Because they're probably using the lightest char possible, like a single, they call it the number 1 char. It's charred to meet the legal requirements, but it's not their best barrels. You say it's probably not their best corn. It's probably not their best wheat. It's probably not their best rye. It's probably not their best malt. Probably not. It's probably something that like Elijah Craig or Fighting Cock that didn't come out correctly, and they dumped it in here and added flavoring so it wouldn't gag you, and they sold it for $7.99. I would totally believe that. But I'm not totally bothered by it because at least they're not wasting. I'd rather see them dump it, add some flavor, and then sell it for $7.99 than waste the stuff. I don't like waste. I don't like to see people waste. So, hey, my friend David thinks that's what a lot of these variety packs are with beer. Stuff that didn't come out right, so they give a name to it, dump it, and sell it off. And it's a variety pack. You drink 2 cans and you throw it, and then you move on with your life, So I told him I never thought about that. That makes perfect sense. Like some Samuel Adams that did, because yet, like every time you get a Samuel Adams variety pack, there's like one of them in there. It's like, what is this stuff? This is like a train wreck, And he's like, yeah, they dumped it. And then like those Stone variety packs, they got the delicious. I said, this is everything but delicious. Nothing delicious about it. It's horrible. Um, well, we know they do it with whiskey. We clearly know that because even Heaven Hill admitted it. I can show you the interview, but I mean it's an hour and a half interview, I think. But the guy laughed about it. I said, well, I can see that laughing because it's kind of embarrassing, but he admitted it. I didn't take offense to it. I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. And who's going to complain? Some of those blends are $5.99. Not too many. All right. Oh, this is total Buffalo Trace character, man. They have a house style. Like I'm telling you, Buffalo Trace bourbons, they all taste, I don't say the same, no, but they got this similar theme going on with them. And I've had a number of them over the years, and they got this house style. It's kind of like, how if you get something from Anheuser-Busch, a beer, they always got this similar flavor across the board, or Miller beers, they got this similar flavor across the board. Or Samuel Adams is the best example because they all taste so much like the other because they use the same trick pony. They just get it to jump different ways. It's like you're getting the same beer 100 different ways. 2-row pale malt blend. What they say, like Tettnanger hops, and it's like I keep reading the same recipe again and again and again and again and again. And then one of them will have coriander added, one of them will have ale yeast added, one of them will use lager yeast, but it's the same base thing. I'm not saying it's bad because most of the Samuel Adams variety packs I get, I like. I wouldn't say adore them. Don't jump out of bed, go and look for them, but I like them. This is a challenge, haha, in name only. Sorry, Royal, you just got the royal treatment, and that was a smackdown. And you are the champ. You say the champ are the cheapos. Okay, I'll go along with that. You think everything got to be expensive? Wrong, it doesn't. Can you get a really delicious bourbon for cheap? Yeah, as evidenced by what I'm holding in my left hand. Now my right hand, whatever hand, it doesn't matter. This is the real deal. This is no joke. This is no dream. This is really happening. Now, what about the regular ancient age, 80 proof, the 3-year age, just ancient age with the kind of, not the gold label like this, but the kind of khaki label or what you say, linen, look like a towel, but like a yellow, like washed out yellow. That's a winner, man. That is no joke either. I saw it Sunday. I saw it Christmas Day because they had Ricky's was open Christmas Day, Ricky's liquor store, for $8.99. $8.99 for Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey sour mash. Not extraordinary by any means, but somebody must like it because it's been on the market since 1936. Just saying. The company says 1946, but I told Sazerac, I said, y'all got it wrong. It's 36. I can prove it. And they said, well, wait, you got information? Like kind of snooty about it. I said, yeah. And I sent them documents. I said, here's a newspaper advertisement from 1936. It says, the new ancient age. Get this bourbon. You'll love it. I said, nah. That's clear evidence. And then I found trademark data from the U.S. Patent Office in 1936. They were like, thanks, which I took as buzz off. I said, all right, cool. You don't want to change it, keep it wrong. Anheuser-Busch changed their website after I contacted them, and they changed it in like 1 or 2 days. Because they were saying, this was 10 years ago, they were saying, Bud Ice, introduced in 1984. I said, what? What are you talking about? So I got all kind of evidence to show that they were wrong. And then I contacted them, not in a hostile way. I was trying to help them. I said, just to let you know, your website says Bud Ice came out in 1984, but it was not till 94. What? They were saying, what? Are you serious? I said, yeah, look. And I gave them the information. And then they sent me an email about 2 hours later. Oh, we really appreciate this. We're sorry for the mistake. We're going to get on this right now. And then next thing you know, it was changed to 84. And it's still that way today. Now, did I achieve any kind of great thing? Was this a great achievement? No. It was just an example of if a company is very, on the ball, or if they're kind of off the ball. All right. So let's look at the comments and then we're out of here. So happy holidays, says Craig Swinson. Same to you. FD says LSU got a good basketball team this year. Boy, they beat Arkansas last night. They're on fire at the start, Now, how you start, though, you want to get that invite. That's how you finish. Craig says, hi, FD. FD says, hi, Craig. Good to see you on here. Craig says, I tune in when I can. Alafara says, we have a winner. We definitely have a winner. It's not even close. Saints need a quarterback. They are a mess since Drew Brees started becoming a broadcaster. Well, that lasted 1 year. He was fired from that job. Well, Dalton is starting to come on kind of strong. I never did think it was really his problem. When you got receivers that he puts the ball right in their hand, and you can look at games throughout this whole season where Dalton, who's, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback or anything, but he put the ball right on in their hands and they couldn't hold it. Dropped it. I mean, I don't care who the quarterback is. Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Sid Luckman. I don't care who it is. If they put the ball in their hand and they drop it, well, then you can't win. I hope you had a good Christmas. I did. I offered Evan Williams Green Label at a Christmas party and no one wanted it. They sure were gunning through Jim Beam. I actually told them I preferred Evan Williams Green Label. They got people with I said this yesterday at work. When you have people with formed ideas, you cannot change them. A formed idea, it may not even be accurate. Like they'll say, Evan Williams Green Label is bad. And you say, based on what? You've had it? Well, I haven't had it. I heard about it. Oh, so you're saying it's bad. You're going to say it's bad, but you never tried it. And I ain't trying that junk. I've literally talked to people like that. I was like, well, there's no hope for you because you judge a product with really based on nothing. Scoggett, hello, everyone. Hello to you, Scoggett. FD said, you got to be a real drunk soul brother to drink a 6-month age bourbon. Hey, well, it was right there at Walmart. Didn't look like anybody was buying it. It was $27. I said, the minimum legal requirements. Yeah, the minimum. I know about these minimums. They definitely did that for $7.99 and saved some of the bad batch. I agree with that. Please, Craig says, please press like. He won't be laughing when he wakes up in a ditch after drinking that bottle for $5.99 with a warrant out for his arrest. Oh, yeah, well, probably won't be. I gave up on Samuel Adams variety pack when they got rid of the chocolate stout. That was a horrible mistake. Sam 76 ruined a lot of variety packs. Oh, worst product they ever made. And they've made some bad ones over the years. But that was a joke. I mean, Sam 76 made Keystone Premium look like the best beer. And Keystone Premium was like the blandest mass-produced American lager they had. And I had people get angry at me, tell me, like literally, like, I'm not going to watch your channel anymore because you said Sam 76 wasn't good. I said, okay, don't watch. It was horrible. That's what it was, because I'm paying craft beer prices and getting a beer that's not even good as a Trader Joe's beer. And those are kind of weird, At least they got character. Sam 76 had no character and virtually no flavor and no body and no nothing. And I mean, for somebody to tell somebody that, like, I'm not going to watch your channel anymore because you said it was bad. When you thought I was under some kind of compulsion that you needed to watch my channel, or I would have a nervous breakdown and get depressed and go into mourning. I like people to watch the channel. I appreciate people watching and we have a good time, but This is not a totalitarian setup where people are going to dictate to what we got to do. Shiner makes some great variety packs. Shiner does, and unfortunately, we no longer get the family reunion. Man, I haven't seen family reunion in Louisiana in 10 years, maybe 11, and it's really sickening. They got caught in a lie and couldn't deal with it. Who got caught in a lie? They lie, and we must be merciful for those who lie, those nabobs. I hate them. I truly hate them. Okay. Checking in, Ron, says Jeep and Foodie. I'm back to making videos, and I am glad to hear that. Caleb, you had factual proof and evidence backed up with common sense. Oh, you're talking about Sazerac? They didn't get angry. They just didn't care. It was like, oh, well, we got a lot of mistakes on our website or whatever. You know, it was like, just trying to help y'all, man. They would have to pay some legal professional a lot of money to accrue all of that aforementioned legal data for the year in question. Didn't seem to bother Anheuser-Busch. They fixed it in one day. Hey, or maybe 2 days. Hey, Ron, nice to see you today, says Butch Willie. Happy holidays. I'm politically correct now, as you see, laughing out loud. That's good. I'm glad you got woke. Texas Tech played a good game last night. They sure did. They whipped up on Ole Miss like some punks had jumped up to get beat down. The year of your birth, 1976. Ah, ha, ha. Sam 76 was so bad. It really was bad. Get woke and go broke. That's a lot of people because they got no integrity. They should have paid you for proving the proper year. Yeah, well, they didn't. And I didn't do it for the money. You know, I'm not like Frank Zappa where he made an album called We're Only in It for the Money. Go look at that album cover. You'll see who he was throwing shade at. That was so comical. I'm not a Frank Zappa fan. I don't like his music. Nothing personal. But but that album cover is too funny. We are only in it for the money. I was like, oh, that's cold. Anyway, but probably correct. But anyway, last thing, I was watching an interview with Lou Reed from 1983. Lou Reed, 1983, talked about how he liked to ride motorbikes and motor scooters or something like that. And he was saying, talking about his motorcycle helmet and whatnot. And then they said, well, they were asking about music and everything. And the reporter was asking about music and everything. And he was answering the questions. And the guy was like, you know, about the Beatles. And he kept saying, you know, the Beatles did this and the Beatles did that. And Lou Reed said, Lewis Reed, his real name, Lewis Reed, Lewis Reed said, I don't like the Beatles. And the interviewer said, you don't like the Beatles? He said, no, I don't like any of these English groups. I don't like English rock and roll. I don't like English groups. He said, well, a little bit of the Rolling Stones, but I don't like English music. He said, you don't think the English people should make rock and roll? He said, no. And he said, well, what do you think they should do? And he said, I don't think they should do anything. I got a kick out of that. He said, I don't think they should do anything. And the guy was like, well, what about Philharmonic Orchestra, the London Philharmonic Orchestra? He said, well, yeah, stuff like that. And then he said, and they also should learn how to cook. I said, oh man. The reporter was like never realizing, you know, it's like you don't see what he's doing, you know, he's putting that game on you. He's putting that Lou Reed game on you. But it was funny. It was good natured, but I got a kick out of it. All right. Well, thanks everybody. There's your champ. There's your clear champ. And I got a lot left too. So I've been nursing this, you know, because it's so good. Royal, I'm not so motivated to nurse this. I'm already halfway through, you know. But you know, it exists. What can we say? Craft Beer Tastic says, Ron, you should do a tasting with absinthe sometime. Oh no. I used to have some people come on my channel on these hangouts, and they were like, I'm into absinthe. I'm into absinthe. Next thing you knew, they were making comments that were like gibberish, like cock like the moon, cock, like literally they were like cock like the moon with radiation. You don't know, because I'm not a communist, and you're not going to look at me through my TV. And I was like, what are you talking about? Are you all right? And then they never came back after, like, I was like, okay. They were telling me how safe it was to drink absinthe. Next thing I know, they're out on Planet Nine and La La Land. So I was like, yeah, it sounds like it's really safe. Really good stuff to drink, as evidenced by both of those guys who were into it, who I don't know whatever happened to them. I know what did happen to them, though, before whatever happened happened. All right, thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.